Okay, so we've got DH Caboose Red down on the underside. And I actually really like the underside of the A-Wing. I think that's such a cool look. And I love that grille. So, yeah, the pictures for the underside I've got are from the Chronicles. I haven't got any from the archive ref pictures, but I've got plenty in the Chronicles, or enough that shows all the rust streaking and that sort of thing. So the underside shouldn't be a problem. On the top, I've gone in and used engine black, an acrylic, engine 1975 engine black, all under the where the armature goes and everything, and just in the well of the cockpit. I've got tons of reference pictures from the archives that show the cockpit, and it's covered in black. You can just see it's base coated black, or it might even just simply be the black from the cast, because what Last has done is cast this in a dark resin, which is handy because when you chip along the sides, it is all the black styrene shown through, or the vac formed plastic that they used. Now, whether that's the black shown through from the plastic and then it's just literally been misted over or painted over with the grey ILM armour grey, that's colour matched to a screen used piece that I lent Guy, and he made that armour grey colour. Whether that's just the colour that's gone over the black plastic, or if it's a black primer they use underneath it, we'll never know, but it doesn't matter, because I think Guy said, don't use ILM Stormy Sea, try the armour grey, which I have, and I really think he's onto something there, because that shows, it's given that bluish tone, which is handy. And the way that Lass has built the cockpit is he's done these in separate parts. So this can be base coat of black again, and then given a coat of this, and then that will just sit inside there. So yeah, looking good. Happy with this now. You're always on the fence when you're laying down the main base colours, but it's starting to look like the A-Wing. I've got this in natural light now. There's no lighting on at all in my studio. This is just light coming through from the windows, and it's given that lovely, I mean, the A-Wing again, it's a chameleon red. Like, ILM never made this easy for us to replicate. I don't think they ever thought people would be doing this to this extent, but their colour choices have always been a difficult one, because, you know, sometimes that looks like boxcar red, it's dark red, sometimes it looks like a pink. You know, it depends on how, like that now it's all pinky, then it goes into a dark maroon, and it just changes all over the place. Some photos of the A-Wing look like it's got a real warm orangey tone, then sometimes it looks like it's like a cold maroon tone. But that DH Caboose Red, thank you Lee, Ralph and Guy Cohen for sort of help. I know I've done one before and I was happy with the results from the first one, but you need a nudge to help you remind what you used previously. And I mean, even yesterday I was like, yeah, it's grime misting, but it's not. It's SP lettering grey, and that's what I used on the studio scale one. And it took Guy to say, yeah, no, that's SP lettering grey. I'm like, oh, of course, yeah. So it really does help when you sort of bounce ideas off each other. But there we go. So the next update, I think I might start paneling off some of the shades. Like there's light blue, I think, light blue 55, and there's some foundation or concrete. Again, this is something I've got to try and work out. But yeah, that's that for that update. Okay, so we've laid down, I hate it when people say we. No one was helping me do this. It wasn't me, I did it. Okay, so I have laid down some more panels. That one is light blue 55. Now, that's what I used on my last one, and I don't think it's right, but I think possibly they are all armour grey, same as the cockpit. They're just different thicknesses. You can tell here. So this panel was just given a light passing, and then that darker panel was given a heavier coat. And it's the same colour, it's just different shades. Different thicknesses make all the difference. And the same with here. So it could be just the trick of the light making that appear blue, which is probably the most logical thing. But saying that, I still like it. So it just adds a bit of difference. With the SP lettering grey misting and that sort of thing, and there's a blast mark that goes from here right across it. So that'll take the harshness out of that colour. What else? Oh, with the sides, yeah. So down the side, I did start off with SP Lark Light Grey. But that didn't seem right. So I thought it was foundation, but the foundation is too sort of peachy, I think. So I've used 1975 Concrete. And it's lovely how they've painted the island one. They've sort of gone over it, and then they've put their panel down, and then they've gone over the panel again. It's a lovely area of the ship. Now that gets all knocked back as well, with all damage and chipping and that sort of thing. And the same on the other side. I haven't done any of the panels underneath yet, apart from that white one. But there's some greys and that sort of thing involved underneath too. So that's where we are. I did it. Okay guys, so apologies for how this is set up. This is just me on the fly trying to get this just technique to show you what I'm doing, just for the rust streaks. And yes, I am spraying over the top of my Chronicles book, but just for the purpose of this video, I've just got to do it this way. So I'm going to be replicating this. Oh, you can't even see it. Let me wait by that. The mark here, which is the rust streaks that go back just over the top of the blast mark. So we put our masking tape down and we start up the compressor. I'm saying we again, but it's me on my own. I don't know why people say we, but now I've got into the habit of saying it myself, which is annoying. So there's three streaks going up on here. So I'll just, this is Archive X enamel rust. So I'm literally just going to do 1, 2, 3. Now, you won't get these streaks exactly accurate because they were done at a freehand way. So what I'm going to do is leave it like that and get a cotton bud, dip it in some white spirit, and then you've got a slightly more control over manipulating it. So I'm just going to roll it over that and just start taking most of that off. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, it's just such a awful way I've set this up. So now kind of just taking most of it off. And then you go in by hand, if I can find my brush again, which I can't. So back here, yep. And you start trying to paint on as best you can the streaks that you can see in the book. I've got this area in high res ref on my computer, but my computer's not playing ball at the moment, and the ref pictures are on the phone that I'm using to record this. So I'm kind of stuck there. But for the purpose of showing you guys the technique, this is simply what you do. Now I'm going to wet the brush with just pure neat enamel thinners. Take most of it off on the masking tape because you can use that as your palette, and you just start dabbing the area. Okay, and then you go back in with the airbrush. Give it a bit of a blow and that'll spider web it off. And then you can just faintly go in with your streaks again. Make sure it's working, yeah. There we have that area done. But now, since I've just pulled it off, I've noticed I went a little too heavy with the airbrush, and that's blown some of the paint on the panel that I don't want. But again, because it's a nail thinner, you can just take that off. There we go. So that's how it's sitting at the moment. I've done a few blast marks and stuff, but I'll go over that in a minute. Again, on this mark at the back, I've done the airbrush first along there, and now I'm just literally moving the brush back and forth to get that streaking effect. And there we go. Okay, so here it is, starting to look more like the A-wing that we know and love. I've done the rust marks, as you can see, and I've also done that blast mark. It's really tricky to do that one, actually. You never know if you're going too heavy or too light. But you start off with very dark grey splotches. I did that by hand. And all that by hand, and then you go over the top. I think what was I using? Dark Lark I used for that. And then it's got some sort of feathering all the way along there that I did. These are Dark Lark. No, they're not. Armour Grey. And I've got to flood them with Armour Grey washed down. You've just seen the rust marks. I've just done those on camera. I haven't done anything to the red yet. That's got blast marks on the front and stuff. But what I have done, oh yeah, there's that overspray sort of red patch on the back that's been done. All of that chipping on the side was done with the Dremel. That was really satisfying doing that. This is what I've been talking about, having that black showing through, which on my bigger studio scale one, I had to spray that black and mask that off. And it didn't look as good as this, because this is actually, this is how it was done back in the day. It was scratched right back down to the black plastic. Same on the other side, although that has more of a striking effect on that one. Panels done on the underside. That's got to have some misting over the top of them, and also all the rust and the grey. But this is the real fun part. This I haven't finished that area either yet, though. That's got to be some more time spent on that. But yeah, this is how it's looking. There's tons of foundation, not foundation, but concrete. This shade. There's tons of that all over here, misted. And then it's going to be lovely with that SP lettering grey on top of all this, especially on here. There's tons of misting along there as well, and on the other side. But that's how she's sitting at the moment. Hey guys, how you doing? I thought I'd quickly film this because it might be helpful. I've flooded the area with Dark Lark, but I'll go over that in a minute. This is what I want to concentrate on. This I've re-sprayed over. So this was light blue 55, 45, whatever it is. 55 I think it is. And it was too blue. So I've gone over with the right colour, which I think is the ILM Armour Grey. So both of those now are just the same but different shades. But now, of course, I've lost my streak that goes across there. So I'm just going to go over that streak now and try and regain, if I can get my airbrush working, regain the streak. And it goes almost to the end of the panel. Bouncing it across. Okay, and then there's 3 in total. They're feathered like that, they're not dead straight lines, they're sort of dotted. And the other one is a much wider, as you know, that's It's just really close to that one. Okay, I think that's, and then there's some misting at the top there. It just sort of blends in a bit. And I can tighten this one up a little bit as well. Just bouncing it. And there's one that goes out like that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for that one. As you know, there's one that goes down at an angle. There's actually quite a few of these, I missed them. And then just some dots. There we go. So that's the streaking on the side. Now, if I can turn that like that, on the raft there's 3 hits along there, and they've got that familiar circle in the middle where the air, where the pressure of the air has blown the paint outwards and created like a circle. So one there. So you can see it creates almost like a circle with the base coat in the middle. Another one then, and then the last one's a little bit lower. And then they've got some trailing off that goes down the bottom. Okay, and there's the 3 blast sparks under there. There's also some at the front as well, but I'll try and reposition the camera better for them. Okay, there's 2 little blast marks. The one on this orange rusty panel that goes off at an angle, which is quite a big sort of spider webby pattern, and that goes off at an angle. Like that. There's another little bit there, and then a bit of mist at the top of it, and then there's another one that looks like was originally that dark there, but it's been misted over. But I'll do the best I can, just try and replicate that. Okay, and then there's this area up here which has a dot at the corner, and then it's just slightly darker around here, like a C shape. That's got some splotches of grey on it, looks like it's been done by hand. There's also a lot of blast marks here, so I'll just mask that out. And do some of there's a dot at the top. And then there's just some back and forth in sort of streaking. Two dots at the top. My airbrush is playing up at the moment. Can't get that working. That's better. I can refine that a bit with the brush later. That's not my best work. But there you go. And then there's one here. And then there's 3 going up on the red. I think I'll do all them. I'll rejig my setup and do that in a bit. Okay, so what I was saying on the other side about this flooding. Sorry, I've just gone on a tangent here and I've started adding all blast marks and all sorts that you haven't seen on camera, so apologies for that. I've just sort of, sometimes you forget to hit record and just carry on. But over here, I can't remember where that part was from. 135 German mobile wagon. No, not mobile. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, that area has not as much flooding as this side, but it certainly does have some staining. That would have probably been done with the airbrush at ILM, but again, to get more control over it, I'm just using some dark lark and then just literally slopping it on and trying to follow the ref as best I can. It goes right over here and then up. And then it even floods into sort of here and goes right up. Now I'm going to wet that lark down with thinner. I'll start sort of manipulating it out. Still trying to get that floody sort of appearance. It does go around the outside of that part. And you just keep bringing it up and following the ref as best you can. It goes right out to this. These are Allen key bolts, but Lasser's used kit parts on this one. And they go up like that, and that staining, once dried off with the old hairdryer, we'll get a tide mark. There you go. And that's the staining that happens around there. There's tons of staining all over the back, so I mean I can just carry on as I am, really just getting my mix of paint. It's all around the back here. You can darken down areas that you've already done. And then you get your thinner and flood it on the model. The matte surface of the model absorbs that paint and thinner and creates a lovely splodgy tide mark. Then you flick the brush, get some spattering going on. Hopefully you can see this. Put some more thinner on it, just splatter it all on. That'll all disappear when you get the hairdryer, apart from a small amount, but it gives that. And there you go. Hopefully you can see that. I haven't been looking at the camera once, so God knows if that was in shot, but we're getting there. This is the fun part.